This podcast is sponsored by ebookit.com, self-publishing solutions for the independent author and small press. Visit us today at ebookit.com. Hello and welcome to the Toastmasters Podcast, the official podcast of Toastmasters International. Hello everybody, my name is Bo Bennett.
And I'm Ryan Levesque.
And we have a wonderful series of interviews for you today. Ryan, what's going on?
Yes, we're continuing our series of interviews with presenters from the 85th Annual International Convention coming up in Washington, D.C., and we've got 4 educational presenters we'll be speaking with today.
All right, let's get right to it.
Kelly Swanson is an award-winning storyteller, motivational speaker, comedian, and author of The Gutsy Girl's Pocket Guide to Public Speaking Kindle series, and Who Hijacked My Fairy Tale, How to Hang On to Humor When Life Doesn't Go the Way You Planned. She's also the creator of Pride's Hollow and the wacky cast of Southern characters who show up when you least expect them. Kelly has won awards for her storytelling from the Film Advisory Board of Hollywood and the National Parenting Publications Association. She was a featured entertainer for Holland America Cruise Lines and has been coined one of North Carolina's funniest women. Kelly will be presenting a session at the International Convention Thursday, August 18th. The title of the session is You, Your Story, Make an Impact. Master the Art of Connection and Engagement Through the Power of Story. Kelly Swanson, welcome to the Toastmasters Podcast.
Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you with us today, Kelly. So tell us about your session. I assume you're going to help us become better storytellers. Are you going to also help us incorporate humor? What do you have in store for us?
Well, as Toastmasters, and I'm a Toastmaster myself, we all learn a lot about the power of story, about techniques that'll help us be better communicators. My experience in my career, my life, has been about studying the art of story to connect and engage, to take it a step beyond the techniques, beyond the vocal varieties and where to place your hands, to the true art of really motivating and inspiring people on a deeper level. It's one thing to communicate effectively and to be polished. It's another to actually convince people and change their mindsets and to inspire them on an emotional level. And so that's what my session is about how the power of story can help you connect and engage on that deeper level. And I hope to not just change your perspective and teach you something, I hope to actually show you how it's done, because I believe often we can learn as much by seeing it done in action as we can by being given some gifts. I will be giving everyone a free gift so that they can go home and access more information and dive deeper, so that I can, give them something beyond the 45 minutes or whatever time frame I have, and they can go deeper and take me home with them, I guess is the way to look at it.
Is there a cash value to the gift?
No. Well, there's a cash value. It's free. It's a free gift, but I don't know what it's valued at. I could make up a number, but that'd probably be wrong. But no, it is free to all Toastmasters, to everyone who's in the audience. It's just a gift from my fellow Toastmasters.
Great.
Fantastic. Kelly, what do you think, what is it about story that connects so deeply in the human experience?
Well, let me see if I can say it in a short way. Our thoughts, and this isn't coming from me, it's coming from greater minds than me. Our thoughts are not stored as words. We don't take any action without first having an image. We don't do anything without having a visual image of it first. And therefore, our thoughts are not stored as words, they're stored as images. So for our data, our facts, our figures, whatever it is we're trying to teach people, the information, the content, for that data to have an impact, it has to be wrapped in an image for the receiver to be able to process it, hang on to it, and access it later. And another way of saying that is that if connection and engagement is emotional and data isn't emotional, and story adds that, your data as it applies to real life. It adds that emotional component. When we hear the story, we relate to the teller who is standing up there in front of us. That's my short answer.
All right.
Great. Kelly, I have a Toastmaster speech to give this Thursday, and I'm going to ask you to give me some coaching on this, even though you haven't heard my speech and you don't even know what it's about. But is there something you could tell me that you think maybe people tend to miss with storytelling that I could add to my speech? Some kind of technique or perspective that would enhance my storytelling?
Sure. Be conversational. It's not a performance. It's a conversation you're having with the audience. Look at them. React as if you know what they're thinking. Don't be too polished and so scripted that you don't become real to them. I always tell people, when you're telling a story or giving a speech or whatever the case may be, I want you to be the guy I've met at the cookout. Sure, without all the ums and the ahs and with the vocal variety, but I want to meet that guy. The more we become too polished, too mechanical, the more people disengage from us because we don't feel real to them. Whereas if you just I don't know how to put it any simpler than that. That would be my biggest advice, because people get up on stage and they become somebody else, and we can feel that that's not the person they are at lunch or they are at dinner. It's finding the balance between scripting every word, which I do, and practicing it like it wasn't scripted. One great technique is to act like you're trying to think of that word you're looking for, even though you already know. It's like the audience, it's hard to explain without showing you, but I do it all the time. You act like, oh, what is that word? Yes, culpability or whatever the word is, and you look at the audience like, yeah, that's it. Those little techniques that make it seem more organic.
Right.
Does that make sense? And let me give you another tip too. I just did a blog post on it. Don't drop the dog. Stay in scene. And by that I mean, I watched somebody tell a story with a dog in it. And this whole story, this dog was a main character in the story. Well, about 30 seconds in, he dropped the dog and stepped on it. And all I could think about for the rest of the time was that he'd squished the dog. And what we tend to do when we tell a story is we're painting a scene. We are showing instead of telling. That's the key to good storytelling, is taking me there with you and using your description so I can see every bit of it. Well, I am so into your story that even if it's on a subconscious level, I know where you've placed everything in the scene. So if you're talking to your spouse and they're on your right, and a couple of seconds later you're talking to them and they're on your left now, it can be very confusing even if your audience can't put their finger on it. So I always say stay in scene. And the best way to do that is to just see it in your head. I relive the story again. I don't plan what I'm going to act out. I just try to be natural, but I'm not over to the side telling you about what happened to me yesterday. I'm standing in that moment, describing it for you, feeling it, thinking about it, and reliving it. That's another technique. And keep in mind, and this is where it gets tricky with when Toastmasters comes into play, because there are rules and there are things that's been my biggest struggle, is that there are things you're graded on in competition that I break the rules on purpose in real life as a motivational speaker, because I do want them to think that this wasn't a perfect speech I had crafted, and I need them to think I'm in the moment. And sometimes I'll lean on the podium, for example, because it gives a more relaxed. It's really hard for me to explain, and hopefully that's why I'm so excited to be part of the Toastmasters Convention and to show you all through story. I don't want to just get up there and tell you what to do. I want to take you to my town to meet the characters and let you see how I tell stories, how I work it as my craft, because there's a lot we can learn just from watching. And so hopefully you'll see, wow, she made me cry. She made me feel. How does she do that? So sorry to ramble.
Right. No, that's great. And I'm excited to put some of this into practice for my speech on Thursday. I would say, Kelly, I have found this very How should I say it?
What's the
Enlightening.
word?
Yes, I think that's the word. Enlightening. How was that, by the way?
It sounded so authentic,
Perfect.
Ryan.
See, I felt like you're totally in the moment. And once you start looking for that, you'll start to see what I mean. And at the core of it, I think no matter what we are trying to do as Toastmasters within the organization, we're trying to take it out there in the world and have more impact and influence. That's why we're all doing this, whether, in no matter what our job, no matter what our industry, whether we become professional speakers or not, we are out there trying to influence the people to be heard above the noise, to know our story matters, our voice matters. And in order to do that, we really need to connect with them on a deeper level, because I'm going to go to an old sales adage. We're selling something on that stage. We're selling a truth. We're selling an information. We're selling an awareness. We are trying to sell them something. And people buy from people they like, trust, believe, and feel like they know. So for them to accept what you are teaching them or coaching them or inspiring them to do, they must first feel like they know you. And that's where story really plays into it. It's not just a tool to help teach the data. It's also a tool to help you connect on an emotional level with your audience or your listener or your student.
All right.
Fantastic. Wow. You packed a lot of material into just a few minutes here, Kelly. I can imagine the full hour session at the International Convention is going to have a whole lot more. Thank you so much for joining us today to share about your session at the International Convention.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly.
Beautiful. Thank you for having me. I'll see you there.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take
All
care,
right.
Kelly.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Michael Notaro, Distinguished Toastmaster, past international president in 2011 to 2012, is an attorney, entrepreneur, and educator. He founded his law firm, Notaro Law Group, on the golden rule of treating others as he himself would want to be treated. He specializes in assembling legal teams that achieve positive win-win solutions for all parties. Michael's work requires active listening, analytical thinking, persuasive communication, and creative problem solving. Michael brings a unique skill mix, which includes a background in sales and marketing, financial development, and legal policy formation. A Toastmaster for 22 years, he credits the organization for his personal and professional development. And Michael will be leading an interactive panel discussion on Wednesday, August 17th at the International Convention. The title and topic is The Benefits of Service Leadership. Michael Notaro, welcome back to the Toastmasters podcast.
Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Bo and Ryan. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Michael, you are going to be doing this panel discussion on the benefits of service leadership. What do you mean by service leadership?
Good. Well, that's a good question, Bo. Service leadership involves service organizations like Toastmasters International, Rotary, Kiwanis, areas where we work together to do good in the community. And we develop leadership skills. And we'll be talking about how the experience, particularly in Toastmasters and at the international board level, develops skills and competencies that are applicable in our everyday life. We have some great panelists, and that's what it will be about.
It sounds like you are going to be hitting on the what's in it for me angle of this whole thing, right?
Exactly. In fact, that's the genesis of this, that as an organization, we often talk about the promise of Toastmasters. Toastmasters will build your confidence. It will help you find your voice. It will help you a lot of things in life. But we sometimes don't talk about the actual individual lives that embody that. And that's what we're going to be talking about. We have 4 panelists who've all contributed tremendously to our organization and have successful careers outside of Toastmasters. And so we're going to be talking about that in the context of our members who are looking to develop skills. What's in it for me? How can I leverage my Toastmasters experience to achieve my goals and dreams in life?
Nice.
Cool. And could you give us some examples, Michael, of how you've done just that in your career?
Good. Well, I appreciate it. I don't want to give away my whole session because I will be sharing a little bit, but along with the panelists. But I actually run a legal firm here in Northern California in the San Francisco area. And what I found is that during my time serving on the executive board and also serving as international president, there were opportunities that just kind of opened up for me. I was contacted by judges and other attorneys to lead different conferences and educational things and things giving back to the legal community that I never dreamed that those things could be on the horizon for me. But what I didn't realize is that my Toastmasters training was building skill sets in me that a lot of people didn't have, especially a lot of attorneys did not have. And so I'm going to talk about this a little bit more during the session, but it just opened up doors for me. In fact, it was just kind of daunting to think. The real challenge was to try and decide which directions am I going. So it has opened up a lot of career opportunities, both for financial, enhancement, and frankly, we want that for our members. We're a nonprofit organization, but we want all of our members to develop the skills that get them promotions and help them to grow their firm or what they want to do. So it's certainly done that for me, and that's something that we really have never addressed in this kind of context, and that's the goal of our program at the convention.
And who are some of the other panelists that are going to be exploring this topic with you, Michael?
Well, very good. We have right now we have 4 panelists. We have Dilip Avasekara, who is a past international president, tremendous speaker and speaking coach. And Dilip will be with us. Eddie Dunn, who is also a past international president, and Eddie is a successful university school administrator in North Dakota. Crystal DiCarlo, who I served with on the board of directors, she will also be speaking, has an extensive career in human resources. And Pat Hannon, Pat's from Omaha, Nebraska, who also served on our board of directors. So right now, that's the 4 of us and me, and we'll be presenting the session.
How helpful do you think this session will be for those who don't necessarily aspire to leadership at the board of directors level within the Toastmasters organization, but who rather are active within their club, within their district? Will they still find value from this session?
I think they will. Because we're going to be talking about leadership as a developmental concept in Toastmasters. And whether you are a leader at the club level, a leader at the district level, a leader at the international level, you acquire skills. And, it was funny, I was at my club a couple of weeks back, and somebody came up and they said, well, I didn't know Toastmasters was about leadership. I thought it was just a speaking club. And I said, well, I appreciate that. He said, I thought the objective of Toastmasters was to create professional speakers. And certainly we admire that, and we definitely support those of our members who develop on the accredited speakers track or the professional track. But I said to this person, I said, did you know that when you look at the actual professional speakers, people making money from the speaking industry in North America, it's about 4,500 to 5,500 people that make money from that career. But if you think about leadership is really unlimited. And for all of our members, communication is, of course, an integral part of their leadership development. But they might be leaders in their business, leaders in the Parent-Teacher Association, leaders in their church, nonprofit, government, you name the field. The potential for leadership development is virtually unlimited. There's no limit on the number of people that do that. And so it is exciting that even those at the club level will see how the principles that we talk about are beneficial for them individually.
Michael, I think you're going to make too many leaders. We still need some followers, don't we?
Well, a good leader is a good follower.
I guess so. All right. Well, this has been great. The session sounds wonderful. And those who are interested can certainly go to that. And Ryan, did you give the time for that?
Yes, once again, Michael's session, The Benefits of Service Leadership, is Wednesday, August 17th.
Nice. All right, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and keep doing your great work. I look forward to seeing all the Toastmasters at the convention, and have a great summer.
All right, you too. Take care.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, bye-bye.
Manoj Vasudevan is a leadership coach and management consultant with more than 2 decades of experience working with major multinational companies in Asia, Australia, North America, and Europe. As a renowned transformational coach, he has coached C-level executives, senior executives, bureaucrats, management consultants, celebrities, UN diplomats, entrepreneurs, and professionals, constituting a clientele from 27 nationalities. In 2015, Manoj won 3rd place in the World Championship of Public Speaking at the Toastmasters International Convention in Las Vegas. In 2012, he was among the top 25 stand-up comedians at the International Comedy Festival in Hong Kong. He is currently the CEO of Thought Expressions and has spoken in 14 cities across the world with sessions that are eye-opening, engaging, energizing, and entertaining, including successfully addressing an audience of 20,000. Manoj earned a bachelor's degree in electronics engineering and his MBA from Imperial College London. He is also the author of an Amazon bestseller. And Manoj will be leading an educational session on Thursday, August 18th. The title is Are You Ready to Lead? Leadership Lessons from the Mousetrap. Manoj Vasudevan, welcome to the Toastmasters podcast.
Welcome, Manoj.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here.
Great to have you with us, and we're excited to hear about the session you'll be presenting in DC. So first, tell us, what's the Mousetrap all about?
Wow, this is a great question. Actually, Mousetrap is a folk tale. It's just a 2-minute folk tale, which I'm not going to tell you now because it could lose the surprise. That is a 2-minute folk tale about a farm and 3 animals or 4 animals in the farm. And when the mousetrap first appears, it appears like a problem for the mouse, but then it eventually affects everybody except the mouse. And so the whole concept is about how we need to take ownership of what's going around. So the whole premise is that there are 2 types of leaders. There are leaders by birth, people who are born to be leaders, who have the traits, skills, behaviors, attitudes, with inborn traits to be a leader. On the other side, we have leaders by design. Those people who do not believe they are born with leadership skills, then how they can become a leader. So the whole book itself is talking about leaders by design and leaders by birth. So leaders by design, and my argument is that to be a leader by design, you need to take ownership of these mousetraps, which are around you. And then I talk about 18 lessons or 18 steps you need to take to be a leader others will admire and follow. So the whole talk is that if you look around, there are a lot of opportunities to lead, but are you ready to lead? And the steps I propose are those steps I have validated myself when I am coaching several people in leadership from some 27 different countries. So I summarize all this lesson into this little 2-minute story and derive 18 lessons from that. So that's the whole premise of the talk.
All right, you're going to work some comedy in there, being one of the 25 top comedians in the entire world?
Yeah, I definitely will have some humor because the whole story has to be some fun. I'll also have some activities, and these activities are also to realize where you stand as a leader. So yeah, I'm sure there is some comedic potential in the talk.
Very
Cool.
good.
We always like that. So, Manoj, what is it that you're hoping attendees at your session are going to do, think, or feel differently as a result of having attended?
I'm pretty convinced that they're going to think that they can be a leader others will choose to follow. So this is not very high-level talk. It's going to be to make them realize that they can take ownership and grow. Because one of the feedback I got from this talk before is whenever I deliver this talk, somebody in the audience who is in some high-profile position has come to me and that this is exactly how I became a leader. So that's what gave me a lot of confidence and invites to speak on this topic. So I'm pretty convinced, and that's my aim also, for the audience to believe, and when you say think, to think that they can also be a leader. They can also do things, even though they don't feel now that they can do it. They're going to believe that they're going to do this. And what they're going to do differently is to take ownership, get people together, and the techniques of doing that. And the talk ends with the statement, you're never too small to be big. Because in my little story, the mouse eventually becomes the boss of the house. But we are totally insignificant. So the whole premise is for them to believe that they can be leaders others will really admire and follow. And of course, I give a lot of examples of real life leaders who has taken the same path towards leadership.
All right.
Cool. And Manoj, how important for you has Toastmasters been in the leadership equation?
Oh, it can't be any better. You know what? This whole story of the mousetrap, I've been looking for a story like that for years because I had this idea of leadership. I've been coaching people over the years. But years ago, I took part in a speech contest, and I didn't win the contest. I was not even placed. So my mentor asked me to join another club, which he said is a weak club. You can easily win there. Go and join this club. So I went to join this club, and there were only 2 contestants, and I won the contest. So my only reason to join that club was to win that contest. But the moment I won the contest, they said, "Oh, this is a weak club. Can you be the president of the club?" I said, "I just joined this club to be a." So no. He said, "There's nobody else. That's why we're offering it to you." And so I said, "Okay, let me take it on." What I realized on that day of the election of the AGM, once we had appointed all the exco on the day, because we were just picking people to fill the committee. On the same day, that was the day I stopped seeing 3 of my members since that day. They just left the club. They didn't. So I was left with me, the president, 1 vice president education, and 1 treasurer to run the club. And the membership was like 15 or something like that. So I told this mousetrap story to get people together. And of course, we implemented that. So by the end of the year, we had membership going up to 50. Wow. We had doubled the meeting. We became known as the Club of the Champions. We produced a number of district champions. It's one of the top clubs in our district now. So we also had succession planning. We had like the next generation of leaders. So it's actually, this is where I really experimented the mousetrap. So definitely Toastmasters provided me a venue because I could not have done it anywhere else. Because this is a voluntary organization to get people to work together and apply these techniques, what I preach about, was a life changer. So it gave me a lot of confidence to talk about this topic.
Well, that's one thing Toastmasters is definitely good at. It's providing the venue for practice, whether it be for public speaking or for leadership in your case. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing this information. It sounds like a session not to be missed.
So thank you so much, Bo and Ryan.
All right. Thank you, Manoj. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
I had the great pleasure of speaking with Mr. John Zimmer, ACB, ALB. John is an international speaker, trainer, and lawyer. He has worked at a major Canadian law firm, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and is a full-time professional speaker. He's a 7-time district champion of Toastmasters speech contest. He has 25 years of public speaking experience, and he writes a popular blog about public speaking called The Manner of Speaking. And John currently lives near Geneva, Switzerland, where we are speaking with him today. How are you, John?
Hi, Bo. Great to be here.
Now, just to confirm, you are in Switzerland right now, right?
I am in Switzerland right now. If I look out the window, I can see the Alps.
Wow. Amazing. So are you coming back, or are you coming to the United States, I should say, just for this Toastmasters event, or do you have other things going on?
No, indeed I am. It's a very special event. It was a great honor to be asked to speak at the convention, and so the trip to Washington is just for that.
All right.
And my wife's going to join me as well, so we're going to make a little vacation out of it.
All right. Well, it's a good place to go. DC is a beautiful area.
It is.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your presentation called Improve Your Life. What can you tell us about it?
Well, in fact, the title, for people who are listening, the improve has parentheses around the final E in improve, because it could also be improv your life. And I'm going to be talking about improv, or improvised theater for the longer form. And some people may not be familiar with improv. It is an art form where you get 2, 3, 4, or more people on stage. You get suggestions from the audience about a location, a relationship, a situation, an object, and then right on the spot, with no preparation, people have to create a story, create a scene based on the information that they are given in the moment. If anybody has seen the show Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Right.
That's improv.
One of my favorite shows of all time.
It's a great one.
Yeah, I love it. So tell me, in real life, is it that good, or are these guys on Whose Line Is It in any way just amazing?
Well, they are exceptional, because this is what they've been doing for years and years and years. But I have seen amateur improv in many locations, and when it hits, you can have some great shows. When things click, when people apply the basic principles of improv that I'm going to get into at the convention, that's when great things happen. And the interesting thing about improv is that more and more it is being taught in business schools, it's taught in medical schools, and businesses are actually bringing improvisers to their offices to work with their employees on improv. I do some of that here in Geneva. In fact, next week, one of my colleagues from my improv troupe, he and I are going to be working with an international organization based in Geneva, working with the people in a couple of the departments on improv.
Nice. I find it interesting how something just seems so much funnier if it's done improv rather than if it's written beforehand. Do you see that?
Absolutely, because and this is half the fun for the audience. One, because they're participating by offering suggestions, but two, they're just waiting to see, like the actors themselves, what's going to happen. You just don't know, and that's the beauty of improv. The departing point is random. The journey twists and turns and has surprises, and the end is either uncertain or even non-existent. And the funny thing is that improv, if people who do improv, you can learn a lot of skills that are directly transferable to the workplace. Things like listening, creativity, teamwork, innovation, communication, all of that stuff comes through improv.
Not to mention just the public speaking abilities. If you have this improv ability and you're just giving a regular speech, if you could work that into your presentation, it could be so much better, because people really like that kind of interaction and that kind of humor.
Absolutely. It's much more effective than just sticking to the script. And Toastmasters will be well familiar with the concept of table topics, improvise, which is impromptu speaking. You go to the front, you get a question or are handed an object, and you're asked to speak impromptu for a couple of minutes in response. Improv is like that, except you have to work with others. So you do not have complete control, and that adds this additional element of randomness and uncertainty. And you have to be able to have, there's a great expression, strong opinions loosely held. So you go onto the stage, you bring your ideas, but if the story takes a different turn such that your original idea no longer fits, you've got to be able to abandon that idea you had in the moment and just go with the flow. You have to adapt to what your players are offering you. And that's how improv succeeds.
Right. It reminds me a little bit of that Adam Sandler movie, Just Go With It. The whole thing basically is about one big improv. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie, but...
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
Yeah, it's classic. So what kind of people are really good at improv? Do you have to be that kind of person, or is it something that you feel you could teach anybody to do?
It is definitely a skill that can be taught and a skill that can be learned. One of the key principles, if people just apply one or two of the fundamental principles, they can get the hang of improv very quickly. Of course, to become really good, to become Whose Line Is It Anyway good, you've got to work at it and you've got to practice. But if people are willing to follow a couple of principles, one of which is what we call the principle of yes and. And it ties into what I was just saying. Yes and means that if you and I are on stage, Bo, and you make a suggestion to me, I have to accept that suggestion. And I can't block you, because that's what kills the scene. You have to accept it and add something to it. And maybe a concrete example might help. Imagine that we're on stage and I come walking across the stage and I'm gesturing very clearly that I'm carrying something heavy. It's over my shoulder, it's, draped down my back. And in my mind, I'm thinking I'm carrying a bag of your dirty laundry. And I'm going to tell you off that, I am sick and tired of doing your dirty laundry. But before I can say anything, you look at me, you see me walking across, clearly holding something across my back, and you say, my God, that fish is enormous. Where did you get it? Now, in that moment, I can either say, this isn't a fish, this is your laundry, and I might get a cheap laugh, but I've blocked you. Or I can say, I stole it from the grocery store. I'm tired of paying their high prices. And then we have a story. But you can see how quickly, from what was in my mind a bag of your dirty laundry, it has now gone to a stolen fish. But that's how quickly an improv scene can turn.
It's funny, when you're telling that story, I'm thinking the first thing that comes to my mind is a dead body. What does that say about me?
Or dead body. It's amazing the kind of things that come up.
Right. Well, this sounds like a lot of fun. I don't want to have you get too much into it, but are you going to be pulling people up and doing some live improv during the session?
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't be improv if I didn't get people up out of the audience. Right. So it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. I've done a lot of workshops and worked with a lot of people, but I've never done an improv talk/workshop for 2,000 people. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, and I think, but I will make sure that everybody has an opportunity to participate in some way, even for the people who have to just stay in their seats.
Right. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, and if I am there at that session, I'm going to have my hand raised, so you make sure you seek me out and pick me.
I'll be looking for you.
All right. So let's tell our audience when it is. It's on Thursday, August 18th at 4:15 p.m. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. John, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing your presentation.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Isn't it about time you published that book you've been thinking about? We can help with that. At ebookit.com, we've been providing authors and small presses with ebook publishing services since 2010. Visit us today at ebookit.com and let us know how we can help you.